Let me ask you a question. Do you have a main? Who is it, and why? I know quite a few people who play this game, and I find a really wide diversity of answers to this question. The reasons also vary wildly as well. Honestly, I find this topic really fascinating since we all play the same game, and see the same characters, and come to completely different conclusions. I've come across Ayaka mains, Kaching mains, Diona mains, and even a Klee main. You know who you are. Anyway, I wanted to share a couple of stories about the mains I've chosen over the years, what made me want to main them, and ultimately why I ended up switching mains over time. Afterwards, I open the floor to anyone watching. Please share your stories about your mains, or why you switched from a character you mained for a long time. Anyway, let's get to it. The first character I ever mained was actually Rosaria. She was the first character I ever got out of the gacha outside of Noel, who was guaranteed. I was still very new to the game and only had the guidance of a good friend of mine who got me into the game. He guided me through Dragonspine and helped me get the Dragonspine spear for her and helped me get started building a physical build. I had a ton of fun with her and she carried me pretty far, at least until the deeper floors of the Abyss. As I got more characters, more options, and ultimately got a better understanding, I eventually moved away from Rosaria, who I still occasionally use as a cryo support for some teams. The next character that I can truly say that I mained wasn't until Inazuma came out, and I got my hands on Ayaka. I'd been saving for a while, and when I read that she could infuse her weapon with cryo just by dashing, I was sold. She ended up being my first main DPS character that I really resonated with, and I put a ton of time and investment into building her. The first character I was really experimenting with, and trying to build teams for. She's part of the reason I build teams the way I do today. I still play her a lot, and she is still easily one of my strongest units and sees a ton of play. But I wouldn't say that I main her anymore. I'm just not as excited for her nowadays, though I did get a spike of interest in playing her again when Shenhe came out, but that happened after I switched to maining Kokomi. Now, I've told this story before, but just in case it needs restating, Kokomi's kit had me somewhat interested, but when the community said she was going to be bad and one of the worst characters of all time, I knew I needed her. I ended up planning a bunch of team ideas for her in different use cases and put a fair bit of investment into her. I spent a long time playing her, and I like her a lot. My favorite team for her still is a Taser team with her, Beidou, Official as the base. She still is an important part of my roster and also sees a lot of play just like Ayaka. She's another one of the reasons I build teams the way I do, and why I look at characters the way I do. She was the first time I ever wanted to have that kind of a challenge. But eventually, something came out that made me switch my focus, and that focus happened to be Noel. I've always liked Noel, the defense scaling tank that could dish out a lot of damage. I always wanted to play Noel since I started playing. She was the first character I ever rolled. But she was always missing something. That, and I didn't have her C6, which I only got recently. But the thing that really inspired me to go all in on Noel and make her my primary focus as a main was this. The Redhorn Stone Thresher. When Arataki Ito came out, a lot of people were excited for him. They liked his style, design, his voice. For some it was love at first sight, but all I could see was that incredible claymore that would look so good on my Noel. So I rolled for it, and as you can see, I got it. The first instance of the weapon binder treating me very kindly. Don't try this at home. Noel has been my favorite character pretty much ever since. I still consider myself a Noel main, but someone else has recently dethroned her as my primary focus. And those who watch my streams or have seen some of my more recent videos probably know who it is. To no one's surprise, that character is Dehya. I liked her design, but what made me want to main her was the challenge of playing and building a character that people thought was bad. It was Kokomi all over again. And I'm sure that this will happen again. A new character will come out, be labeled as the new worst character of all time, and I'll be compelled to main them and try to make them work. Is this a problem? To some, maybe. But I'm having fun. And that's really all that matters, right? To wrap things up, the moral of the story is that even I've had wildly different reasons for each of my mains over the years. And the stories will keep coming, and I'm sure the true is the same for you too. So please, share some stories about your mains down in the comments. I'm really looking forward to reading some of the reasons that you pick a main. And with that, that's all for me. Cheers. Also, I'd like to thank anyone ahead of time who actually takes the time out of their day, watches the video, and decides to share a story. You're awesome.